Coming up, Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls at Universal's Islands of Adventure. Welcome to the SeeWDW Near Far podcast, where we explore perspectives of the Walt Disney World Resort from 10 to 1,000 miles away. I am Mike the Far in this equation.
And I'm John the Near.
All right, today we are going to step away from Disney a little bit and travel over to Islands of Adventure. And we're going to talk about Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. This is an attraction that you've heard about a number of times on this podcast, especially when we talk about social media, because this thing does really well for John. Apparently, just the splash.
Speaking of that video is up to 852,000 just watching.
Good.
Down, so.
Great. Wow.
Popular.
Yeah, it's always popular for you.
Yeah, it really is.
Man. All right, so we're going to talk about just the ins and outs of this thing. I want to talk about first just a brief overview of where it's located, and of course that is Islands of Adventure, but the land is Cartoon Lagoon. And Toon Lagoon at Islands of Adventure, it's a lively and colorful section of the park that brings classic cartoons to life. Often these classic cartoons are out of the collective social conscience of America right now. They are pretty old cartoons that they have over there, but they're really cool. The whimsical area brings visitors into a bustling cartoon town with exaggerated architecture, vibrant colors, and larger-than-life props. Here you'll encounter beloved characters like Popeye the Sailor, Olive Oil, and Dudley Do-Right. Toon Lagoon is known for its water-based attractions, including Ripsaw Falls, Popeye and Bluto's bilge rat barges. Dang, it's not just you that has. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? It is a thrilling river rafting adventure. The area also features interactive water play areas for kids to enjoy, with themed dining options, shopping, and entertainment atmosphere characters. Toon Lagoon offers a playful and nostalgic experience for visitors of all ages. And John, I don't know if you've ever encountered characters over here, but as far as Universal goes, they are some of the funnest characters to interact with. We saw Popeye and Olive Oil over there the last time we were there. Man, that was really fun.
Betty Boop shows up there a lot.
We saw Betty Boop as well. Yes.
But yeah, I enjoyed that land, and I like it even more because I'm not really familiar with it. When I was a kid, I watched Popeye cartoons, and Dudley Do-Right was vaguely familiar. I think he was a Rocky and Bullwinkle extra cartoon. And, that's been going on a long time. My mom watched that when she was a kid. And, then, I watched the reruns when I was a kid too. But, yeah, I kind of like that. It makes it feel like it's almost original, or at least so obscure that you don't see it anywhere else. So I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, it kind of makes it timeless, right? It's like a timeless land. And I like it a lot too. I like the colors, and even the fact that they even use comic strip characters from the old newspapers, like the Phantom and things like that. So I mean, really, and again, in the collective consciousness of society right now, probably half or more of these characters, most people, particularly below the age of 40, they're not even going to know who these characters are. But if you do a little bit of research, there's some cool history behind them. I really like them. A lot of them are that they're from that World War One, World War Two era, that post Depression era, and I just think it's a really cool land. Universal did a really cool thing here doing creating this land. Let's talk a little bit about Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls in brief. The Ripsaw Falls Adventure is a highly themed flume ride located within Cartoon Lagoon. It features simple animatronics and cartoon-themed figures, false drops, and a storyline that ends with a 70-foot plunge. So that is in brief what the ride is all about. Let's talk a little bit about some backstory here. Who is Dudley Do-Right, and what is his connection to this attraction? Dudley Do-Right is a fictional character known for his appearances in various cartoons and comics. He is a Canadian Mountie police officer created by Jay Ward and Alex Anderson. Dudley Do-Right is a well-meaning yet dim-witted and bumbling character who is always determined to do what is right, often to humorous and comedic effects. Dudley Do-Right is most famously associated with the Rocky and Bullwinkle, popular animated television series that originally aired in the 1960s. Within the show, Dudley starred in his own segments titled Dudley Do-Right of the Mounties. The segments depicted Dudley's misadventures as he tried to protect the Canadian wilderness and save his love interest, Nell Fenwick, from the clutches of the dastardly villain Snidely Whiplash. Dudley Do-Right is characterized by his distinctive red Royal Canadian Mounted Police uniform, completed with a wide-brimmed hat and a badge. Despite his well-intentioned nature, Dudley often finds himself stumbling into hilarious situations due to his lack of intelligence and gullibility, providing comedic entertainment for viewers. The character of Dudley Do-Right has become an enduring and beloved figure in popular culture, known for his good-hearted nature and comical ineptitude. He is the protagonist in this attraction, and that is his connection. John, again, like you said, maybe your mom knew more about Dudley Do-Right than you did. Certainly mine probably did.
I remember him a little bit, but I was going to say, I also heard a little tidbit about this ride that I guess Disney bought the rights to Rocky and Bullwinkle sometime in the 60s or something, but that's to distribute like the VHS tapes or whatever, eventually. Not in the 60s, but probably like the 80s or something. They did that. And when it came time for a theme park rights, I heard that the widow of the creator didn't want Disney to have it. They wanted Universal to have the characters to use in the parks because she didn't think that Disney would actually use it or use it properly. And I would say she's probably right. Disney would have said, yeah, we're going to take good care of this and throw it in the bin of maybe we'll do it someday, but probably not. They're not real good at honoring people's
their legacy, right?
It's like the Muppets, it's like,
yeah,
nothing. They don't care. But so anyway, I thought that was an interesting tidbit about the ride that I didn't know.
That is interesting. I did not know that. And, because it's like non-Disney IP, it would have just been a distribution rights agreement. They probably never would have used them, honestly, especially in this era right now. All right, let's talk a little bit about the story and setting of this attraction. In this comedic adventure, guests travel to the fictional town of Frostbite Falls. This is a Canadian wilderness town where Dudley Do-Right is assigned to maintain law and order. The attraction begins by introducing the mischievous villain Snidely Whiplash, who plots to kidnap Dudley's love interest, Nell Fenwick. Snidely plans to take Nell to his hideout at Ripsaw Falls, a treacherous and fast-flowing river. Dudley, ever the intrepid hero, sets off to rescue Nell and foil Snidely's evil plans. As guests embark on the ride, they join Dudley Do-Right in his pursuit of Snidely Whiplash through a series of comical and thrilling scenes. Along the way, riders encounter hilarious mishaps, sight gags, and water effects that add to the excitement. The adventure culminates in a thrilling final drop, plunging guests down a steep descent into a splashy finale. So let's actually discuss the significance of Ripsaw Falls and its role in this narrative. Ripsaw Falls, within the narrative of the attraction, serves as both a key location and a thrilling element to the story. First and foremost, the falls are the hideout of the villainous Snidely Whiplash, who plans to take Dudley's love interest, Nell Fenwick, there. The falls act as a strategic and treacherous setting where Snidely intends to carry out his nefarious schemes. In the attraction storyline, the significance of the falls lies in its role as the ultimate destination for Dudley's heroic rescue mission. As guests progress through the ride, they follow Dudley's pursuit of Snidely, leading them closer to the dangerous Ripsaw Falls. The climactic moment occurs when guests reach the final drop, plunging down a steep descent as if descending the rushing waters of Ripsaw Falls itself. This exhilarating element stimulates the thrilling climax of Dudley's adventure, adding a sense of excitement and immersion to the attraction.
Yeah, and I like to say too that it is amazing how deep the story goes, because most of us just ride this thing and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I was saying before, I'm riding on the log and there's, people saying stuff and they grab the girl and, there's so much going on. But again, I think what makes the ride good is, like a lot of the old Disney rides, whether or not you know it, there's a really involved story going on. And somehow that it just feels better for some reason. I don't know why exactly. Somehow it does, though. Like it really adds to a lot, at least that they try that hard, So
yeah, it brings sense to the craziness, right? There's a reason for these things and for all this stuff in front of you. So.
That's what I say. The first time I rode this thing, I just have vague memories of, I don't know what in the heck was going on in there. It felt crazy and just out of control, and just one of those things. But
that's it's kind of like, you're right, like a lot of the Disney rides from the past, they just don't do a lot of that anymore.
Well, the first time that I rode Splash Mountain, I don't think I knew what was going on. I'm like, is this the drop? I don't know. There's bears talking. It was just wacky, but after a while you get to know the story more, the more you do it. And I know we're going to talk about the queue area next. And I have to admit, I think I have done Express every time. And the next time it's cold, I'm going to just go through the queue when it's a low wait, because I've ridden this in the cold before. And again, when I used to vacation here, a lot of times we would try to stay at a Universal hotel, and all they had was the 3 expensive ones at the time. So I would get Express then. And then when we moved here, I would get the Premier Pass, which is Express after 4. So when it's hot out, I'm not going to wait a long time to ride it. I'll just go to the Express line. So I never went through the queue. And it's funny because I never went through the Popeye and Bluto raft ride queue either. Till last week, they made me go through the queue for Express, and it was really cool. So I was glad.
Yeah, I loved your footage from that. Well, let's describe the queue as this. The queue area is themed to look like Snidely Whiplash's hideout. There are animatronic bears and beavers, as well as a theater that shows a short film about Dudley Do-Right's quest to rescue Nell Fenwick from Snidely. So they basically do a pretty good job of establishing the purpose of the story with their cue. And even have a little bit of animatronics going on there. So, boy, sounds like another company, something they used to do.
Yeah. That would explain my confusion too. I skip right to the ride, so I don't get to see.
See, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they set the story up in the queue, and then I go to Express. So.
Yeah, they should give you like a Cliff's Notes version of it in the Express line.
Yeah, like I said, I need to get in there because I've noticed in social media people. I've never seen anyone else post anything about that queue, like inside the ride. I've never. And again, it's one of those things that if I saw it as I was scrolling by, I'd be like, "Ooh, what is that? Wow, that's something different." So when you only cover two basic parks, something different is very attractive to me. So I really want to get in that queue now, but I'm probably gonna have to wait till it's cold. So.
Yeah. Well, it's because y'all are. I think y'all are locals, and so y'all go after 4 with your after 4 pass, right?
Yeah.
It's like the King Kong ride. I know if you go through Express, you get a little bit, right? A little bit of the queue thing.
Yeah, you get to walk past it on the Hulk. You can still see the big gamma electric generator thing and all. You're not as involved in it, but you kind of can see it because it's a big open room. But in this one, the Express line, you go in this entryway because there was no such thing as Express when this thing was built. So it goes down this narrow stairwell and then right to the room where you load. So it's like,
yeah, that's the thing. Universal's Express line is so efficient compared to a lot of the Disney Fast Pass lines. You will go on in long hallways and kind of wind around. Universal, like single rider or Express, man, you're right there. It's like a really short walk to getting on there. So I can see how you miss all that story stuff,
Yeah, and as far as going through the ride, I think I'm going to try to look at my on-ride footage here and match it up to what they say it is, because like I said, I go through it and I'm like, there's black and white animals playing instruments. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know.
That's exactly it. The first room. Let's go with the on-ride experience. The first room of the ride is a black and white room with animatronic animals. The animals are singing a song about the dangers of the Ripsaw Falls.
And I have to say too, that I heard that singing animals was a parody of Splash Mountain, which was a popular ride at Disney World. When they put this up, this is like their version of Splash Mountain. So they said, let's put singing animals in. But again, I don't know if that's 100% true, but it was supposed to be a parody of that.
Well, it did say effects department back there. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
That's fun. All right. Let's go through this and let's just watch it. But it says the second section after this. So there he's riding. All right. He's riding a horse or something.
And this is up a hill.
So this is
chain lift hill.
The chain lift hill. The ride then goes up the chain lift hill. As you go up the hill, you can see Snidely Whiplash riding a minecart down the other side of the hill.
Yep. I think that was right here.
Yeah.
You can see him riding the minecart with that, what's her name? She looks scary. Look at that. She almost looks like
she is
a zombie or something. But that's the love interest.
Why would he want to save that? I mean, you're right. She does kind of look like a zombie.
But yeah, honestly, I usually go through this, and either it's extremely hot or chaotic, or I don't really get to think this thing through very much either. So the next time I ride this, which might be this Sunday, I'm going to be able to follow it better now. So all right, we're going up the chain lift hill, and want to whatever
Yeah,
mine.
I want to yobby. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Mine. And I don't see any animatronic bats and spiders though, but who knows? Maybe they're this ride is getting old. So,
Yeah, it could be that. That's a good point. They might have abandoned that concept.
but the thing about this ride is, and it's kind of like Splash Mountain. You keep thinking, "Oh no, is this that big drop? What's going on?" And it's like,
Right, false drop. The
then
false drop.
they
Right.
they pop you out here, and it's just a little drop, and this is where you're up, and you can see you're high up on the you're and there's some more animatronics here. You're high up on the mountainside, and I always thought to myself, you can see there's only about a foot of water below the what looks like a short sidewall right next to it. And I know, I'm sure it's not dangerous at all, but that's one of the things that just felt scary and dangerous. Like when I first went on it, I'm like, what is over this little wall here? It just seems like you're teetering on the edge, bouncing up and down in the water. And you can see how high you are here. You're at the Mount Rushmore parody part right next to Dudley's head. There's his profile, and there's Snidely up behind him, another animatronic.
And what does that say right there? What's that sign? That is Wantayabe mine right now that you're going into, I think, right?
Yep. So
right,
I guess the other part was just you're going up to this mine.
Yeah,
now you're going into
the chain.
Mine,
so Wantayabe mine, the ride goes through the mine. This is a dark and spooky mine with animatronic bats and spiders. So let's see if we see bats and spiders. I don't really, I don't know.
I don't see bats and spiders, but I see the panther is about to get Dudley.
Yeah.
And there's his horse back there. I didn't see any spiders.
I didn't see any bats and spiders, so maybe they're up in the ceiling, or maybe they used to be there, but
and here's another part too where you go outside. I don't know why riding water rides high up like this that feels like you're in this little tube of water. It just feels dangerous. It's like I just feel like there's nothing holding you. And you can see the rapids get pretty intense there too. Like they're splashing against the boat, and it's not like a smooth, slow ride. You're moving. And
yeah, you are.
Yeah, there's Dudley Do-Right tied up. And again, I guess this is all the same mine.
Yeah, it must be part of the mine. You just go in and out.
There's not a lot of theming in this. Maybe this is where the bats used to be.
Yeah, they might have been. They were probably going that door.
I did want to mention this part here. I heard was an homage to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disney World, and now at Disneyland. I guess I've never ridden that myself, but I guess there's a part where a train comes right at you like that.
I remember that. That's where he dies in the ride, yep. And yeah, but I mean that's interesting. So you come into that place you described with the train and the light, and then you go down another hill. And you said that is a tribute, Mr. Toad's. I wrote it when it was at Disney World before it closed down. And it, I do remember that. And again, there is a place where, Mr. Toad has to die, and this is why he dies. And I don't remember if it was a train or a truck or
a train or a car. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. And he ends up descending into hell, perceivably. So anyways, this is the false drop is what I would call it.
This is similar to when you're going at the laughing place part on Splash Mountain. There's a you go down, you're out of the water, and you go and you have a little up and down action. You can see it here, down and up, and then into another splash. So again, it's kind of like that laughing place part where you're going in the dark, and it feels like all of a sudden you're on a roller coaster, you know.
Yeah.
Which again, until I rode this, I thought Splash Mountain was the only ride that went in and out like that, you know, coaster slash flume ride.
Yep. And here you are in the sawmill. So you are getting really like into that Ripsaw Falls area, so to speak, of the ride, right?
Yep. And if anybody wants to know, this is my video. It's on YouTube. Um, so if anybody wants to see the whole thing, it's there. There's Dudley and whatever his name is.
John, you want to talk a little bit right here, since we're in the saw part, about what was originally intended for this ride at this through this stage?
I don't know if it was supposed to be here or at the end part, but the original plans for Ripsaw Falls were going to be these. The vehicles were supposed to be 2 vehicles wide, so there would be 2 people per row, a total of 10 people per car. At a certain point, a saw was supposed to come down, cut the 2 vehicles apart, and they would go to separate tracks. And with that setup, this was scheduled to open the year after Islands opened because there was a lot of work to do. They ended up scrapping that design as in order to save time, so it would, and I'm sure money too, but so it would open with the park. And I don't know if it's here or later, but I'll point out where it might be. But this is another hill.
False drop, yeah.
More, you can see the camera's getting wet, and you can see how rough that water is when it hits. This is not, it's not a light, it's not a light amount of wetness. And I was going to say, with this ride, typically you are completely soaked before you even get to the main hill. And here you see all the signs about turn back and danger. And it's hard to see because my camera is wet.
But there's definitely a ton of warning signs and telling you to the danger is ahead.
Yeah, when in villain country, enjoy Whiplash Lager, made with real logs.
Yeah. And once you get past this point, that is when you start climbing that final hill.
I was going to say, this is the final hill here. And it is a big one. It's a big chain link hill.
Yeah,
so
it's intimidating.
This would be similar to the Splash Mountain one at the end with the 2 vultures telling you you found your laughing place, you know. But I think this is the room coming up where it was supposed to split off, where the big saw was supposed to come and separate. And somehow they had that part of the track. Maybe they built it first because it was at the highest point. Because this would be the part here. You see where it goes into 2? You can go to the right or left.
I see, yeah.
So this would be the point, unless they were going to do it earlier. I don't know, but this would be the point where, oh no, you got cut in half. Dudley Do Right, which is over here on the left, accidentally steps on the dynamite plunger, and that's why it says boom, and you know, gas and out. And this too is where you could be on the right or left. It seems to go back and forth. On this particular one, I'm on the left.
Yep. And this drop, right, is a 75-foot drop. This is the tallest drop on the ride, and it is very steep, right?
Yep. I'll show you the replay, but in this, I'm gonna go to my other footage once just to show you the thing that I noticed on this, and in recording it, it was easier to see. But sorry, where the heck did that go? There it is. When you're falling, this thing is so steep, and it's so steep that right as you hit, like right here, you could see I'm in a free fall for just a second there, and let me see where it is. Right there,
It's a bounce.
You can see it literally falls straight down and hits into the water. So you're going down this hill, and just at a certain point, your boat isn't connected to anything anymore, and you're falling like this, and so fast that you basically hit the water. And I wanted to point out too, you can see on the right hand side here, as you're falling, see how big the guides get right there to keep you in on that track, because you literally, you can feel off and then hit. And that's one of the big takeaways that I got from going down this thing so often, is that you're falling faster than water at that end. And I heard too, this is a 50-degree drop. It opened up at an even steeper degree, and they had so many guest complaints about how painful the drop was that they had to fix it. So they were basically just like dropping you down, and boom, like there's still a touch of it in there, but it used to be much bigger where you'd be like, whoa, I almost died on this thing. So just amazing, though. I really do love that part right there. Boom. That little fall. It's just a split second of fall. So it used to be a bigger fall. I never rode it at that time. Although I shouldn't say that. I might have. I was at the park. No, it wasn't open yet. I was going to say I went to Universal, but Island's preview center was up, and it was like 98. So no, it wasn't open yet. I was going to say maybe I did, but no, I didn't.
It's also interesting, as you showed this footage, that there are 2 tracks there. So that, just doubly just backs up what you were saying about the fact that this was a split log ride, right?
Yeah, imagine how weird that would be. You're with your family, the log gets cut in half, and it's like half the family goes one way and you go the other at the end. And
it'd be a bigger splash, right?
But here's the thing, too. You both would have been going down this at one time, too.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little bit weird. Like, I guess that's fine, but it kind of reminds me, at the same time, they did Dueling Dragons, which caused several permanent injuries as people are going like this, and, people are getting hurt, and they ended up having to change that, too. So Universal was a little risky at this point in their building of rides. And I always say they were a little risky at this point, and it shows, especially on this ride, because like I said, I feel pretty good about it now, but my first couple of times of riding it, I literally had a sense of fear that this thing feels out of control. Like I don't feel safe on this. Like it feels like there's no control at all on this. And even at the bottom, you can see this huge wave come up. That's when it's almost over, but still the force is so much that it's just a giant wave comes right up over. So, and yeah, all through here, right to the exit, there are 2 tracks.
Yeah.
So this goes to show you they were going to do 2 tracks. Probably smart they didn't. There probably would have been like kids trying to jump out to get back to their parents or something. It's like, the boat got cut in half. It's like, I just feel like that could have been a real problem. So it's probably smart they don't do that.
Yeah. And when you hit the bottom there, they consider that the rapids. So the ride goes through a series of rapids. That's that hill section. So those rapids are really fast. And then, that's where you really get wet. But, yeah, I mean, here, what would you describe? This is the end, right? So
I did want to point out another Disney parody.
There's a dog there, isn't there?
he's in jail. He's putting dog food down. It says crow, but and he's and it's a beaver. I think he's trying to. The beaver is holding the key. See, he's cross-eyed beaver has the key, and he's trying. So
So
again, three different parts. They're kind of making fun of Disney rides or parroting Disney rides. Maybe not making fun. In this case, it is kind of joking about it. But again,
yeah.
you got to remember the people that make these rides. They also might have done work with Disney too. It's like a lot of them work on a contract basis, and when Beastly Kingdom was canceled, a lot of them went to Islands of Adventure that did work for Disney. So you got a lot of overlap there. But anyway, I forgot about this one. So
Yeah, Snidely's in jail and he's trying to bribe the beaver.
yeah. So there's the Pirates of the Caribbean nod or parody, whatever you want to call it.
So that's something else that I didn't really write in my notes too much, but there are a lot of Easter eggs on this ride, right? To different things. Like you had the Mount Rushmore thing at the top, you have the Pirates of the Caribbean at the bottom, you have the singing animals. In the queue, you have the head of an animal, which you haven't seen yet, but the head of an animal, sort of like almost a Country Bears nod. So, there's a lot of different nods to Disney attractions here, as well as national attractions, with the Mount Rushmore. And I'm sure there's way more than what we're catching, but it definitely is a ride where there's a lot of hidden Easter eggs. So make sure to look for that next time you ride it.
This is the part too where it splits off then and takes you to two different unload areas on two different sides. Well, no, they're not that different, but on each side of the dock. And it says in the end, the Mountie always gets his man, but they don't always get the girl. And there's the girl kissing his horse instead. So it's weird stuff.
Yeah, they had weird sense of humor, didn't they? Oh man. All right, so let's discuss a little bit about the thrills, the special effects and surprises that we just saw. The ride does have a 75-foot drop. It is the tallest drop on the ride, very steep, sure to get your heart racing, right?
Oh yeah, especially the first time. It really does feel dangerous, I'm sure it's
Right.
not.
At the bottom of the rapids, the ride goes through of the bottom of the hill, the ride goes through a series of rapids. They are pretty fast and you get pretty wet. And from that drop, at one point at your fastest, you're going about 45 miles per hour. So that's not slow for a ride like this.
Yeah, it's not slow for sitting in a fiberglass log slamming in the water. So there's the view from up top. You can see.
Yeah, it can be intimidating. Boy. All right, you also run into animatronic animals. There are animatronic animals throughout the ride, including bears, beavers, bats, and spiders, which we haven't found yet. These animals add to the atmosphere of the ride and make it even more exciting. Even Snidely there at the end in prison trying to bribe the beaver. So
yeah. I honestly never
stuff.
caught on to that either. I don't know why.
Super cool. Super cool. Special effects. There are special effects through the ride, such as water cannons and fog machines. These effects add to the thrills of the ride and make it even more exciting.
I did want to mention of the special effects too. There are special effects that you can only see from outside the ride too. And this building here, I didn't get a good footage of it, but basically it's all built on hinges, and with you can see right there lots of hydraulics inside. So when you go through, a car goes or a boat goes through, you'll see water burst into the air, and this house literally looks like it explodes just slowly. It goes out and then it goes back into where it was. You can see it going back here a little bit. So, like I said, I didn't get a good picture of it. I was trying to get this, see the chicken pop up too. That's what I was trying to get. And again, you can't see that from the ride. So they literally have a big animatronic exploding house and weird chicken popping out and, exploding water. That's just for the people watching outside. So for the people waiting for their party.
Well, I think that's because that little house on the outside next to it is a chicken house. So that's, like a chicken coop. So that's pretty cool there. Yeah. That's awesome. I love the fact that they've thought that through. They've themed that even for you to look on the outside. They knew this was going to catch people's eyeballs, right?
Yeah, it is beautiful to look at. It looks unreal. It looks like you're looking at a cartoon world when you just look over at it. So I really enjoy the look of it.
There is
even the entrance, like it just looks.
Oh yeah.
Like I like it. It fits very well.
So there's some surprises throughout the ride. One example is that dark tunnel that was on that false drop, so you can you emerge into a bright light pretty quickly down at the end of that tunnel, which can kind of catch you off guard a little bit. There's just I think the speed and the out of control nature of this thing kind of surprises you, right, John?
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
Like you feel out of control from what you've described.
It's got its own vibe to it. It feels crazy.
So again, let's talk a little bit about the intensity of the drop. The drop is 75 feet, 23 meters tall, from top to bottom. The drop is a 50-degree drop. It is 50 degrees steep. And again, they've tried to, even that out, like flatten it out a little bit over the years, but because of the complaints, as John said. Just a few interesting facts about the drop experience. The drop passes through a tunnel with a facade resembling a house, which we just saw. And as it passes through that house, it simulates the blowing up of the house. Keep in mind, this is after Dudley accidentally sets off the charges that blow everything up, right? And we see that.
Too.
Yes.
You can see it over here. This is the exit queue.
Very cool. So you can see it on the exit and before you enter. That is cool. The drop is preceded by a chain lift hill, which brings to mind roller coasters. And this is considered a water coaster because of that chain. And the drop is followed by a series of rapids, which is somewhat rare in these types of rides.
Yeah, I don't. Usually they try to keep it calm after the big drop, but.
Yep. It's just kind of used to slow it down, but in this case, they do use it to slow you down, but they use it to kind of stifle that drop, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, here you can see the hill going down too. Like that is steep. When you're under it, that's a pretty steep.
It is
steep hill. And you know what else makes this ride scary? The fact that you go on it and it's just dripping and wet everywhere. And I'm like, this thing can't last forever. There's just water dripping. You go even in the queue before you get there. I was walking to the queue. And it just like dripping water all over. It's just leaking,
So it reminds me, when you say that, of like one of these rides that you might find at Knoebels or Hershey Park, right? That's just a flume ride. And the reality is that a lot of these flumes are basic flume rides built by the same companies that build those flumes. And then people come around and, the engineers come around and design rides around it. The original Splash Mountain was that. It was the same it was designed by the same company that created the big flume ride at Knoebels Grove in Pennsylvania. And the Imagineers then designed everything around it. In this case, I'm not sure about that. I know the Walt Disney World Splash Mountain was completely designed by Imagineering, top to bottom. In this case, all the information I found indicates that Universal Creative, created this top to bottom. So I don't know if they brought in a flume company or not, but it really reminds me a lot of some of those flumes that you see, at other theme parks. The theming, obviously not. The theming is way better.
And here you can see too, just randomly, they came from inside the queue for somehow, I guess from backstage.
Yep.
Betty Boop, Olive, and Popeye walking out, getting ready to go meet some people. So.
Yep, that is very cool. Betty Boop asked me about my Philadelphia Eagles hat and had a conversation with me about the potential of a Super Bowl run. That was, I thought that was really cool. In character, by the way. So, that was very cool actress doing her job. All right, the creation and design of this ride, really, it's Universal Creative that worked hand in hand with the original creators of Dudley Do-Right, Jay Ward and cartoonist Alex Anderson. So those two worked. Jay Ward, you might know as a creator of Rocky and Bullwinkle, Peabody and Sherman, and George of the Jungle. And Alex Anderson was the main cartoonist who worked with Jay Ward on many of these very projects. Universal Creative, in creating this flume ride, contracted them and asked them to come in and work with them, the creators around the character Dudley Do-Right, to work with them. And I think that includes the family, as we were talking beforehand. There is, as we're seeing on screen, there's the Mount Rushmore tribute, right?
Yeah.
And you see Dudley's donkey, Dudley's girlfriend.
It's his horse.
As horse. Oh, I thought it was a donkey. It is a horse. You're right. Horse. Yes. And why did I say donkey? It just looks like a goofy donkey, Of course, the Mountie is on a horse. And, of course, Snidely is up there as well.
Actually, that's not Snidely.
Oh, it isn't? It looks like him.
That's one of the other Mounties, I think.
I see.
I think that's a Mountie horse. I forget the guy's name, but the older Mountie that's in charge, and then Dudley Do-Right messing everything up. So that's not him. At least I don't think it is. I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure the guy with the glasses is another Mountie.
Gotcha. All right. Some fun facts and behind the scenes stuff. Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls opened May 28, 1999 at Islands of Adventure in Orlando. It was the very first flume ride to drop riders beneath the water level. It has a maximum speed of 45 miles per hour. It lasts about 5 minutes and 30 seconds. The ride is very wet, so be sure to wear appropriate clothing if you plan on riding. And when it drops you below the water level is on this drop. Right as you pass through, right after you pass through that house and chicken coop, it brings you right there. Yep, that's it, where it brings you below the water level.
Yep, and then you have to go back up into the water. You go under and back up. So you don't go far below, but
No. Some other fun facts. The ride's log flumes are made of fiberglass, which makes them lighter and more durable than traditional wooden flumes. The water for the ride is recycled, so it is not wasted. The ride can have wait times upwards of 2 hours during the hotter months, so be ready for that. The ride,
or 5 minutes if
or
it's
5 minutes.
January, like when I went on the record the last time, it was like
There you
January
go.
30th.
The ride is based on the cartoon characters Dudley Do Right, a Canadian Mountie who is always trying to capture his nemesis Snidely Whiplash. The ride takes guests through a series of rapids, drops, and other entertaining things, just like Dudley would experience in his pursuit of Snidely. So, in conclusion, John, the what is your feeling of this ride? I know you've ridden it a number of times, of course. You love to film it. It does really well on social media. It looks like a lot of fun. I have not ridden this ride yet.
I really enjoy it. So, although you have to bring dry clothes or just leave after, I don't know, something like that. But so I only ride it when I plan to ride it. It's not a ride on a whim kind of ride. But like I said, I plan on riding it this Sunday, hopefully, if it's running. And I really do like it. It's a genuinely scary ride. Like a lot of people say, oh, this roller coaster is scary. Does it go upside down? It's like going on a roller coaster that goes upside down where you're locked in the track, you have a harness on, there's redundancies, and your G forces are holding you down anyway, and it's all fine. Like that to me is a lot less scary than riding on this boat. And dropping down 75-foot, 50-degree falls and stuff. I'm like, it's there. It like I said, it feels dangerous, which is what makes it more exciting, you know. So, and
You're only held by a lap bar, right? It's nothing too elaborate.
I don't even remember. I don't even know if it's a lap bar. You just kind of, it's an awkward seating. Like that's the thing to think about too. You would probably absolutely hate the seating. I'm a very small person. They made me sit in the second row. I felt like I could barely get my legs under the thing to put them where they needed to be. And I'm like, and tall people can't even sit in the front. And I'm not a tall person. And I did sit in the front already. The next time I tried to ride it, the team member said, "You're too big. You won't fit in the front." And I said, "But I just did it." And he said, "You won't fit in the front." And he put me in the second seat. But he wasn't going to argue with me. But anyway, it could be difficult. You know what I mean? Like if I have to like go in at a weird angle and try to get my legs under this piece of metal, you're bigger than I am. Your legs are a lot bigger than mine. It's going to be hard for you to get in. So that will add to the scariness for you, though, too. You're going to be like, I can't even get out of this thing without struggling. I'm stuck, you know. So that'll add to the out of control. I'm locked in a thing. I can't get out, and I'm an out of control rapid ride.
So before you get on the ride, are there lockers for you to store your stuff in?
There are lockers to the left of the area. I don't know why exactly, but they're not free. They're going to cost you a couple bucks probably. I don't know why exactly. I guess because you could take your bag on here, but you just shouldn't take your bag on here. on the rides where they will not allow your bag, I think they give you a free locker, at least a small one, like Velocicoaster. But you know, like this ride and even Popeye and Bluto, they have a place where you can put your bag in the middle and cover it with plastic and hope that it doesn't get wet. So they do charge you for it, but again, I don't mind paying because I only ride it occasionally. So
they all over there by your lockers, don't they have a dry off station that you got to pay for as well, or that you can pay for if you want to?
They do, but I don't think those things actually work. Like when it's 100 degrees out and 100% humidity, standing in front of a dry heater, the best you could hope for is you're going to replace your your water wetness with sweat added to it. Like it's not going to help really. Oh, I did want to show you. There's my dogs.
Oh, I didn't know you had 3 of them. I thought you had 2.
Yeah, I got 3 of them. We had this one for a long time. This was her sister, and my wife's sister had her and didn't take care of her, and she had a lot of problems, and she was going to get rid of her. So we took her on, and now she's healthy and happy. And this is the vicious bite dog. But we got them all. They're all on a surfboard here, floating. So.
Wow, that is cool. These are all Chihuahuas, right?
Well, yeah, supposedly. I mean, I don't get him. That's what we were told. But he's supposed to be a mix of a Chihuahua and something. Because see how he's like bigger, but he looks only like a Chihuahua. So whatever he's mixed with.
Maybe he's mixed with pit bull with that vicious, like. But no, that is really cute having all those dogs. I am so not used to little dogs because I got this 70-pound monster at my feet right now. So yeah, strong, pulling everywhere. But I love it, man. I love it. That gives a face to the barks.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right, John, in closing, do you have anything else to add to the Ripsaw Falls, the Dudley Do Right Ripsaw Falls?
I don't know if I mentioned it, but if they would have kept the split track, it probably would have opened like a year later. So that was another reason to cancel that part. And I honestly think it would have been really cool, but it also could have been a lot of problems. So
yeah,
probably better they just didn't.
Especially in this era where everyone's trying to do these stupid TikTok challenges where they slap each other's hands.
That guy who got out of the boat with his baby on the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh my goodness!
He just starts walking around holding the baby, and it's like that is completely wrong. But at the same time, I bet they made them sit there for a huge amount of time until they completely did Disney's weird policy of let's make you sit until you're almost not sane anymore, then we'll come and get you. It's like you should prioritize people because they're not going to wait. They're not all going to wait forever, you know. So I see both sides. I would never ever get out of a boat holding a baby. Like that's just
it's just dumb. You don't know. You have no idea what's in the water. What could get you, grab you? What's mechanism? What's electric?
If you fell or something. Yeah, it's like, oh God, you got out of there with your baby. That is so
good gravy, people. All right. So, John, where can they find you online?
You can find me at SeeWDW on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And CUL on Instagram and Facebook. And again, this ride is on my Instagram, or on my YouTube, where you may be watching right now, complete ride through. So.
Yeah. And you have several clips all over the place on all your social medias, so check it out. You can find me on TikTok and YouTube and all the socials, Instagram at The Giant Rat, THEE Giant Rat. And that should do it for this one. We will see you on the next one.